start with, because I remember the last time we spoke, you said that you didn't think the fight was even going to happen, but it happened in relative easy time. What do you think was the reason why
Well,
it
I
did
know
happen?
I know what the reason was. The reason
Okay.
was because the guy that Espinoza got a boss from at CBS Sports, the parent company, and they said no boxing unless top shelf pay per views. No pay per view boxing unless it's top shelf. None of this garbage. So they then Heyman had no leverage because he doesn't have Fox anymore. So he had to play ball and he had to throw. That's why you saw Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. That's why you saw this. That's why you're seeing Jamel Charlo fight. What's the name? He's throwing everybody, and he needs cash flow.
Canelo.
And he needs cash flow, Heyman. He's cashing everybody in. So that's what's going on.
So basically, you're saying that because they've lost Fox, now the pressure is really on them to put out these big events, and there's no more of these pay-per-views that they were giving us over the last few years, like Keith Thurman, Mario Barrios, Charles
Of
Martin,
course.
Luis Ortiz.
Spot on. Yep, absolutely, yo. You're spot on. Yep.
Right. So this is basically the best thing that's happened to boxing in the last few years.
Yeah, exactly. No question about it.
So the fight, though, because they were actually even talking about this year, they were going to do a Keith Thurman Errol Spence fight, but then this fight happens. Crawford and Spence, long awaited, obviously hyped up fight. Did you think the fight was going to be that one sided? I know you picked Crawford to win and
No,
around the same time, but
no, I
that
know.
lopsided.
You can't plan on something being that one sided. In other words, I did when Gaddy fought Mayweather. I did then. I did. This was like Calzaghe and
Jeff Lacey.
and Jeff Lacey. I thought that Calzaghe would win, just like I thought Crawford would win, but I didn't think it'd be such a one sided, a one sided shellacking, and that's what it turned out to be. Just a
Yeah,
completely one sided. I mean, it was a funny thing. What really shocked me. I'm sorry, it didn't shock me. I'm sorry, but it shocked everybody else. If the ones that noticed, everybody kept saying that Earl is much bigger than Terrence, and I told them, "You'll see, it won't be," and it wasn't. He wasn't any bigger. Matter of fact, really, Crawford actually looked bigger.
yeah, and he
So,
looked stronger. He pushed him off in that second round. That
oh
was
well,
that was game over.
that doesn't count because that was because Earl don't have the legs because he don't have the balance. So that's how he was able to push him off. So that has something to do with him being, just not having the balance and stuff like that. But as far as the physicality, Crawford did not have to take a back seat to him in physical size. There's no question about that.
Right, and people also don't realize Crawford has a wrestling background and how physically strong he is because they've waited longer. This has really allowed Crawford to like fill out more. So in a lot of ways, it's became worse for Spence.
I wrote that on. I had written that before the fight on
Okay,
on Twitter. Yep, on
okay,
Twitter. Yep. Hmm.
yeah. And I don't want to take away from Crawford's victory, but Spence, was he the same guy that he was pre the accident? And I'm not trying to take away from the
Well,
victory, but he
I
looked he
know he
looked a lot
wasn't.
different.
I had said he wasn't, but I also thought that Crawford would have got beat. I'm sorry, Crawford would have beat him before the accident. It just wouldn't have been as dominating as his performance.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's how like because the way he was reacting, Spence, even like to the punches and stuff. Like I've never seen a fighter's face look like that. And Roy Jones talked about it that early in a fight. A guy who's undefeated, like he was getting like cut up red. He looked drained on the week of the fight. He looked like he was
Well,
completely drained.
the reason for that is when you blow up in weight, like he had blown up in weight in between fights, and you're
Mhm.
walking around at 200 pounds, you lose all that weight. You take that there's that water that was in your face. Well, now that water is not there anymore, and that's the result of that. So yeah, there was reasons for everything that happened, and as I said, my line was on one of the podcasts was, I says, they said, how great was what's his name? He was great. He made me look like a genius.
Okay, it was
So
who?
I says Crawford was great. He made me look like a genius.
Oh yeah. It was. I can't think of a time where there was ever a fight like that people had thought of being like two of the top pound for pound guys, and it was so one sided like that. And it really wasn't a competitive fight at all. Obviously, you're saying Spence wasn't the same fighter, but like me, I think Crawford always would have had the advantage. Just
Right.
stylistically, Spence, he is just one mode, which is aggression and more
Right.
aggression and more aggression. He doesn't really fight well off the back foot.
Right.
He doesn't really do anything advanced.
When I kept telling people that Crawford was shot, we said he wasn't shot with Danny Garcia. It was since the accident, and he wasn't shot
Spence the shot, you mean? Yeah,
with Ugas. And my
yeah.
reply to that is that's fine. But that's not Terrence Crawford. Do you know that Danny Garcia has never won a meaningful fight at 147, number one. He's lost every fight he had that was meaningful, number 47. And Ugas, the only fight he ever won that was meaningful was against an old Pacquiao, and that was it. He's
Well, some
never
people
beat
thought he beat
anybody.
Porter. That was a debatable one, him and Porter.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Ugas and Porter. Some people
Well,
thought
yeah, it was
Ugas had
debatable,
deserved
but
it.
he didn't win. I got
No,
to
I
go by
agree.
the official decision. He didn't
No, I
win,
got you.
and those guys weren't Crawford. Crawford is very unique. Okay, he's extremely unique, and everybody saw it. He weaves, bobs, slips punches, uses his feet to get out of the way, uses his hand to block punches. He does whatever he's got to do in there to win, and he's a great fighter. People got to stop
Yep.
downplaying the guy. We've been looking at greatness for years, but people didn't realize that they were so enamored with the PBC, the Earl Spence, of course the LDBCers, the Hammonites,
Allosexuals.
the
Yeah.
the Earl. I can't. Oh, the wait, hold on. The Heyman Johnson jumpers, and you can't forget the dreaded Earl sexuals, and that's what they were into. And I get it. They're all excited about their man, but their man got the shit beat out of them. Give it up.
No, it wasn't competitive, and people had used Crawford's lack of resume because he wasn't fighting the top guys
No, but
to
that's not
discredit
true.
him. But he
That's
was
right.
down.
But it turned out he was fighting the top guys. He just was that good that he made everybody else
Exactly.
look like a hobo.
Well, you think his opposition at welterweight was better than Spence's pre the fight?
I'm not saying it was better, but it wasn't bad either.
Yeah,
They were saying
yeah.
they were acting like he was fighting fucking hobos. He wasn't fighting hobos.
Well, yeah, he was fighting top 10 guys: Evanesian,
Of
Benavidez,
course, of course. Wait,
Porter. He knocked
Benavides.
out Porter.
Time out. Benavides was number one when they fought. That's okay. First, okay. Casalisi was his number. Look at all the mandatories he's had over the years.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys people have to stop.
Right, and he was undisputed at 140, but 140 wasn't the deepest division. Not any fault of his own, but it wasn't. But he beat him.
No. He beat a unified champion that had won his titles on the road, and
That's
then
true. He did.
Dago, and he made him look that bad. So Dago wasn't a bad fighter. He just made him look that bad.
No, and Postal also he beat. He won a vacant title, but yeah, I'm saying it wasn't what it was years prior when you had Dan Garcia, Amir Khan, those guys there. He never fought Matisse, but again, he's dominant and he's proven it. Spence